Am I live? Hello, how are you all? Excuse me, I was a little bit sick. That's why I haven't been live. Let me get my tissues. Thank you guys for joining. Stinks being sick, but here in Virginia, everyone has something. I don't have COVID. I took my very first COVID test. I realized I was really sick on Thanksgiving, and it was actually like that was the first day I realized I had something, whether it was a bad cold, maybe the touch of some kind of flu. I have no idea. But I actually had to leave Thanksgiving and go take a nap because I was sick. But I'm much better now. Anyway, much better now. But apparently something had been going around. But it was funny because that really was my very first COVID test. I had never taken a COVID test, never had it. I might have had it once. I might have had, which was almost a year ago. Do you guys remember, what was it? Omnicrom, whatever. I might have had that. Live by the Kanye, die by the Kanye. All right. Let's talk about this interview. The world has gone mad. That's nothing new. Oh, you had that? I think a lot of people did. That one was more contagious, but it was pretty mild. Okay, so Kanye West has been going on a podcast thing for some time now. And some people might not like everything I have to say, but I want to start out by saying I'm a fan of Kanye West. I have been for a long time. I think he's a genius. I think he's incredibly smart, incredibly talented musician. He says some incredibly smart, thought-provoking things, and then sometimes not so much. And that's okay, but let's talk about what happened. So this all started right around Paris Fashion Week when Candace Owens went to Kanye's show. They both donned a White Lives Matter shirt. After that was Candace Owens' premiere for her film, or for her documentary about Black Lives Matter, The Greatest Lie Ever Sold. Kanye did an interview. I believe it was the day of that premiere where he attended. He attended with Candace. And he made some comments that a lot of people were saying were anti-Semitic, and a lot of people were really upset at him. And that was the DEFCON 3 tweet, which I read, and I just didn't know what it meant. It could have meant a lot of things. And I feel like if it kind of would have stopped there, it would have been a little bit different, but it didn't. It kind of kept going, and it kept digging a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And I think it's clear, again, two things can be true at once. And before I go into this, I want to talk about my dad. I don't know if this is a little bit personal, but my dad, he passed away about 10 years ago of cancer. He was a genius, a genius. Everyone that met him, like, no one would deny that fact. My dad was a very prolific musician, mostly guitar. He was a race car driver. He built his race cars from scratch. He was an engineer, so he designed little parts that would go into NASA or something. I don't know. Space shuttles, whatever. But he designed these like little tiny, like little parts that would go into space shuttles. He could build computers from scratch. He would build all of our surround sound, all of this stuff. My dad was a genius when it came to stuff like that. He also had parts of his personality that were rather toxic and destructive. And so I love my dad, and I know that he's a genius, and I brag about him all the time. I take the lessons. I'm proud of the work that he's done, but I also know that my dad had other parts to him. Oh, thank you. He was an awesome guy, but he had other parts to him that, being someone that loves him, I'm aware of those parts. People that didn't know him very well might be fooled by some of those parts, because my dad was a very charismatic, very outgoing guy. He was very well spoken, articulate, and obviously very smart. But he, when my mom and him got divorced, that really changed him. That really affected him. I think that was although they should have gotten a divorce. Anyway, that's too personal. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that moment in his life, I think, really affected him. And after that, I think he changed a lot, and he let those bad parts of his brain take over a little bit, and it really affected the rest of his life, and he was not able to live his life to the fullest in his last years because of that. Um, I see tiny little small little things that are similar with Kanye. I think he's a genius. He's incredibly smart. He says a lot of things, like I said, that are very thought provoking. He calls a lot of things out, which I don't feel like other people have necessarily for lack of a better word, the balls to do that. So I love all of those things about him. What I think sometimes, what I don't like about conservatives sometimes is sometimes when you have someone from the mainstream or you have a celebrity or you have someone that says something that conservatives agree with, all of a sudden every conservative is like swooning over this person. This is the greatest person. They got canceled. We got to listen to everything they say. And I think that's great. But two things can be true at once. You can respect somebody's point of view. You can appreciate that person. You don't have to come out and say that person's crazy or pile on that person. But I just think at this point, it's not going in a good place. And I know a lot of people will talk about this interview that he did on Alex Jones. To be honest, like, okay, it was a crazy interview. A lot of people like it, but I don't know how effective it is right now, and I don't know what this is doing or what a look this is. And a lot of people are saying, "Well, he said some incredible things. It's cryptic. You have to." You have to look into what he's saying. And I do get it. I think that Kanye has been wronged by a lot of people. And I think that he is a hurt man. And I think that he's a broken man. And someone just said frustrated. Yeah, I think he feels frustrated by being out of control of family and media for sure. And I totally understand where he's coming from. I get it. But I feel like Kanye is mentally ill. I'm not a doctor, but I have some experience with mental illness and what it does to family. Yeah, that's why I brought up my dad a little bit because again, I'm not a doctor either. I worked in psychiatric hospitals. I interned in a psychiatric hospital for adults, so I worked with adult men who were NGRI, so that's not guilty by reason of insanity. So a lot of them committed pretty heinous crimes and were, instead of being in jail forever, they're in this mental health facility on medication and getting treatment. So yeah, I have a lot of experience with mental illness. That doesn't make me a doctor. That doesn't make me an expert. And that doesn't make me able to see what is in his head. But I will say I see things that I recognize, tiny little nuanced things that I recognize. And a lot of times too, when someone's in a manic state or something like that, they can say a lot of things that make sense. A lot of things they will say will make sense. And a lot of them are true. And a lot of them are valid. But that can be mixed in with other things as well. Same, well, mental institute. Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I think he went on 4chan and can't handle dismantling what. Oh, okay. Ben Shapiro went off on Kanye saying he's mentally ill and needs help. I do think he needs a little bit of help. I won't go as hard as Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro probably has reason to go harder than I am. Like I'm just a lot more neutral and like out of the mix. But Kanye said some things about Ben Shapiro, and he said some things about the Daily Wire. And I will tell you, that's at the point where it kind of turned for me. So loved the White Lives Matter thing. The thing that he said at first, the DEFCON 3, that he actually explained that a little. I can kind of see that. I see where people say that's anti-Semitic, but I can still say I don't think Kanye is. And I still maybe I think that there's a lot of rambling coming from. I think there's a lot of manic, a lot of emotional talk that is not precise and that's not pointed. And it's really digging a hole. And I wish he would just take a time out and just like chill for 5 minutes. But I bring up conservatives too, because it's like everyone wants them on their podcast. They want to interview him. They want to be like, oh my gosh, he's so awesome. He's so great. He's so cool. And I get it. And he is all of those things. I don't deny it. But I think right now he just needs a timeout. And I don't think it's helping conservatives. And I don't think it's helping him by giving him a platform and just letting him. It's hard to say that because you want to toe the line of everyone has a right to speak and we all get that, but I don't know what good it's doing right now. And I don't think he will be running for president. Ben Shapiro went off. He's more sane than Biden. Probably true. But like, let's look into what happened. First of all, this tweet really cracked me up. And I'm gonna show you exactly why I don't think he's completely. I think he's manic right now. That's what I would think if I were to guess. And when you're manic, again, you can say some things that make sense and you have points, and then other things are just going off the deep end. So the point where it really turned for me and I just kind of took a step back to see what was happening was Jeremy Boring. So Jeremy Boring was interviewed. Shoot. Jeremy Boring, by the way, is, I believe he's the CEO of the Daily Wire. So he's like the head boss of the Daily Wire. And oh, also keep in mind, when you have an event happened, like with my dad, that can trigger things too. Like Kanye is going through a divorce right now. He's just got dropped by everyone. And yeah, that might not bother him right now, but it does do something to you. Yeah, you might feel free right now. You might feel awesome. You might feel on a high right now, but you're also kind of in shock by everything that's happening. But anyway, Jeremy Boring he was on somebody's podcast and he was being interviewed it was Megyn Kelly. So he was on Megyn Kelly's podcast and was being interviewed about what was going down with Kanye West and Candace Owens. And this was a few weeks ago. So this wasn't like super recent. And he said this, and this made a lot of sense. He said, I respect Candace's friendship. I wish she would have said something else, but that's her friend. I respect that. And Kanye wanted to come on these are Jeremy Boring's words from the Daily Wire. He said, this is a podcast with Megyn Kelly. He said, Kanye wanted to come on the Daily Wire and be interviewed by Candace. Jeremy Boring said no to Candace for that interview, but listen to why. He said, look, I don't want this to be a conflict of interest thing where you have Chris Cuomo interviewing Andrew Cuomo on CNN. I don't want it to be that because I don't want that to be people's criticism where they think this is a conflict of interest and this is just you trying to protect your friend. I don't think that would be beneficial to you, to him, to us, or to anyone. He said, if he wants to come on the show, if he wants to come on the Daily Wire and I sit down with him, or Ben Shapiro sits down with him, or maybe, we all love him, Matt Walsh. One of these people that's going to give him pushback and going to hold him accountable a little bit more. If he wants to come on and be interviewed by one of them, I will have that because that way we're showing people, no, we're not a conflict of interest. We're going to give you an actual interview. And according to Jeremy Boring, Kanye did not want to do that under those terms. So Kanye went on to say that the Daily Wire didn't want to have him on. And that was Kanye's side. This was Jeremy Boring's side. So there's a conflict right there. And I tend to believe Jeremy a little bit on that one. The higher the highs, the lower the lows. Yeah, that's right. That's very manic. Really high highs, really low lows. So that happened. That made me question because if someone is just going out there and speaking truth, why would there be that little conflict there? That little, maybe a lie, maybe a misunderstanding. I don't know. So he did that a few times. He was very contradictory to himself and things that he was saying. And then he did that with Balenciaga too. So that was the point where I was like, okay, I think this is going somewhere and I don't know where this is going, but I don't think this is just a man outing truths on people. I think this is more. And the Alex Jones thing really sort of did it over the edge. Kanye, a few days ago, went on Timcast IRL. I'm sure you saw that. He walked off. He's now surrounded by Milo Yiannopoulos and Nick Fuentes, which I've seen Nick Fuentes in person once at, I think it was Politicon 2019. And he just kind of causes a ruckus everywhere he goes. So you have Milo and you have Nick Fuentes, who are now all surrounding Kanye. And in my opinion, I think they are exploiting him. And I think they're encouraging him to go on Timcast. I think they encouraged him to go on Alex Jones. That's just how I feel. And I feel like maybe this situation is being taken advantage of a little bit. And again, Milo Yiannopoulos, he says if you watched, he was recently on Timcast. It was a phenomenal episode. And it was just Milo talking the whole time. Again, several things can be true at once. Milo can say some very profound, like very thought-provoking things and can say things that are true. But at the end of the day, he is a provocateur. And I will say this about Milo. I respect some of his ideas, but I don't know if I would necessarily trust him with a 10-foot pole. I would, if that makes any sense. He just doesn't seem like a trustworthy dude to me. But I do like to hear what he says. The headlines say he stormed out. He did kind of storm out a little bit. But it's funny, I listened to Tim uh, talk about that incident, and he did say that Kanye, before they even went on air, mentioned that he didn't even want to be there in the first place. So, anyway, yeah, the thing with Tim, I looked at, the whole thing was just cringy to me. I didn't know why Kanye was there. It just seemed awkward that he was there. I guess a lot of people thought it could have been a really cool moment, but it just was strange and awkward. And why would you trust a guy with a pole in the first place? There's your mistake. Yeah, just seems like somebody I wouldn't trust. But anyway, let's look at what happened with this interview. This was my favorite thing that I woke up to today. This was just, I like this tweet. I was sleeping and missed it. What did Ye tweet that got him suspended? Oh, so this is another thing. He did last night also get suspended, permanently suspended by Elon Musk from Twitter. So we will get into that. But it was quite an evening. It started out with clips coming from the Alex Jones interview and ended with Kanye West getting permanently banned on Twitter. Okay, Braxton says, and why was Kanye dressed up like he was a mannequin on a punk show? Well, that's another layer that's super interesting about all of this too, because we'll get into that in a minute. I will address that. Okay, so this is just a screenshot from Stories by House and Habit. She is a pop culture commentator, but also goes into a lot of Kanye West, Harvey Weinstein, all of that stuff. So I look at her stories quite often, but she kind of gives you the bullet points. So we're going to just go through the bullet points of what happened in the interview, and then I have a few clips and we'll talk about those. So she also says, and I've heard this is probably one of the craziest interviews that she has ever watched. I agree. I did not see the entire thing, but I saw much of it, and it was pretty wild. In the interview with Ye, introduced his special friend, which you're going to see. So Kanye goes by Ye now, which it's just hard for me to go by that. So sorry. Don't mean to dead name anyone, but okay. So in the introduced his special friend, a talking orange net deemed netting Yahoo. He revealed details of the Trump dinner where he propositioned Trump about being his running mate. Had Nick Fuentes explain how he accidentally sent a text about Trump to Trump's lawyer during their dinner instead of the friend it was meant for. Complimented the mustache man on his cool uniforms and architectural skills. Said he loves the N people and the surgeon who killed his mother. His mother died in a routine liposuction procedure, if you didn't know that. So that's actually really sad. Insisted that no one is more gangster than God. Proclaimed a standing love for Balenciaga, arguing that all porn on the internet has a satanic grip on society. Let his band friends tweet from his account. Revealed the song he sings while skipping down the street, along with the Clintons will kill him. So he says the Clintons will kill him. Oh, and here's the thing too. So my suspicion is that last night he was banned. He also said on the show that he was going to let Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes tweet from his account. So that is actually my suspicion, that it was one of the two or both, or Milo that was tweeting from his account. And that's what got it banned. I would show you the tweets. They're just all really unhinged. They're like talking about the H man, and he put up a symbol. It was the Star of David with a swastika in the middle of it. He said that was going to be like his running logo or something. I mean, it was just it was pretty out there. I'm afraid to share them because I don't want to get taken off of YouTube, but it was pretty out there. And then eventually what happened is Elon was basically saying, "Okay, enough, dude." And then I think what happened is Elon actually text messaged Kanye West. Kanye screenshotted the text message and then tweeted it out. So Elon Musk has permanently banned Kanye West from Twitter. I think it was a little bit emotional by Elon. I don't know if he should have been permanently banned, but that's what happened. It was a crazy day, and that happened after the interview. Now let's look at clips from the interview. Any mentions of fish sticks? Wait, where? And as far as Kanye running for president, well, he can try. I mean, well, that's the thing. If he's serious about running for president, the Timcast thing, and that's probably why he went on Timcast. I bet it was like Milo, or maybe Milo was just on his show. So it was probably like Milo or Nick. I don't know. I'm just speculating. That maybe said, "Hey, man, you're running for president. So this is a really good show to be." I don't know. Yeah, I agree with Max. Max says he's obviously depressed about his divorce and is trying to destroy everyone's reputation. He was at the pinnacle of life before his divorce. And you can kind of tell that too because he goes back and forth with a lot of his arguments. Like we all know what happened with Balenciaga, and that's not over yet. They basically had kitty pornography in their ad campaign. And once people started uncovering this, they started uncovering all these other dark and just twisted things about Balenciaga and the people they're involved with. And Kanye at first came out and spoke out against Balenciaga, and they dropped him. So it was kind of perfect timing. And now he's saying all these things. Now he's defending Balenciaga. And it's interesting because it's just interesting. But usually that's when you know that somebody is emotionally distressed, when they're not sticking to one point. They're kind of going back and forth. And that's what he's doing with certain things. And he showed up with this.
Next point is,
so this is how he was dressed at on the Alex Jones podcast. And if you have been paying attention to this whole Balenciaga story, then what he's wearing looks very familiar for you. This is one of the Balenciaga like GIMP bondage mask outfits. This is what Kim wore a lot. This is what their young daughter, Northwest, was photographed wearing during Fashion Week, which hers was almost worse. Hers was like more of a hood, which is described as a bondage hood, which is a sexual fetish type of thing. And a lot of people were like, this is what mainstream fashion is trying to push on us. This is what they're pushing on kids. I noticed people on Twitter. So that's what's kind of weird. And what's weird too is he's talking about pornography and how it should be off the internet. It is a sweet jacket. And how it should be away from kids, but then this is what I don't know. It's just a contradictory message. I'm starting to feel like Kanye just does not like to be told what to do or say, and he will always do the opposite no matter what that is. That's what I kind of feel like is going on top of everything else. I think that might be a bit of part of his personality, just on top of everything else. But let's look at this, what he says. This just gives you an idea.
And perfect time to go to break. Hour number 2, uncensored with Ye. Nick Fuentes, I'm your guest host here in Insane Asylum World, because the whole world's crazy. All of us are nuts. This is Twilight Zone 2.0. We will be right back.
Don't you me when you say that.
No, I'm talking about all of us. The whole world's crazy. It is crazy. Everybody's crazy. I believe that. I'm saying the guest host here because these guys are hosting. We'll be right back.
So you can this is just a bit of the energy. Here's another clip.
should be able
I
to be
switched his name to Netton. I dropped the Yahoo so we didn't have to. I was tired of picking up the Yahoo and the Netton. So for now, he's just Netton. I know some people call him BB. No, some of you call him Yahoo, but we're going to call him Netton. What you want, Netton? Hey, yay, right after this, I'm going to say you're crazy. I'm going to take your family away from you. We're not done with you yet. You cannot cause free thought. We have to control the history books. We have to control the banks. And we have to go and kill people. Also, we're in the pedophilia. Ha, ha, ha.
So, and in a little while, hopefully you're going to take the mask off, because is this actually Ye here? Folks, is this the mask is coming off in a little while? Hopefully, we're going to be able to.
So that's basically the energy of. He does do a great Elmo. If he doesn't get to be president, he could be Elmo for sure. There were several, you guys. There were several moments in the interview that Alex Jones was visibly uncomfortable. Like, visibly uncomfortable. So to do that to Alex Jones, so that's what happened. But I don't know if you guys noticed. I noticed this a few times with him, but this is another like small sort of indicator if you've ever been around mental illness or people with a personality disorder or anything like that. One thing that they're always kind of paranoid. And you notice something with Kanye a lot. You heard him with Alex Jones. Why are you directing that at me? He did the same thing with Tim. I can't remember what it was. He's like, why would you say that to me? Why are you? There's a bit of that element in there. But I find it very strange and very contradictory that he's wearing the Balenciaga GIMP outfit and saying we need to move away from certain things. When Alex Jones is the most reasonable person in the room, we have a problem. Yes. They ran Alex Jones' pockets for like $1 billion. Yeah, they did. And the thing is, if Kanye is in a good state, it could be a brilliant interview. When he's in a great and good state. And you know, we've all been there. You have certain times in your life where you're like, I am not equipped to deal with this thing right now, or I need to take a time out. I need to rest. I need to get it together. So much has gone on. Just take away everything that the words that are coming out of his mouth. So much has gone on for him in the past month. How could anybody think straight after that? I just want to know what Kanye's endgame is. I don't know. A part of me is almost starting to think that it's just a huge troll at this point. I don't know. Or if he is manic, maybe he really does think that he has a shot at being president. Maybe he really does think he's doing something incredible right now. And that is what is really sad and really scary, because if he is manic and you have people that are exploiting this and taking advantage of it and giving him a platform so that he can further go into his state of mania and further put stuff out there that, I don't know, maybe is damaging to his kid. I don't know. Yeah, self-destruction. It's self-destruction. And that is what someone says he needs to go back to Wyoming and reflect. That's what Dave Chappelle did. Remember when Dave Chappelle just disappeared? He just disappeared for a while because he's like, I need to chill out. I've been in Virginia for a year and a half because I needed to chill out. I lived in Protest Central. in Los Angeles during the lockdowns, and it was too much craziness. I needed to chill out. Remember, he's a millionaire, so he has something planned 9 times out of 10. Yeah, possibly. We shall see. I wish I should have listened to Ben Shapiro. Maybe I'll listen to him later. But yeah, it was probably about the time where I stopped thinking. But what bothers me too is you have a lot of people that think that everything that he does is cryptic, and it probably is to a certain extent. He's an artist. But I don't think that means that everything is cryptic. And to be honest, to try to decipher every single thing that he's doing is rather exhausting. Read the room, get a new marketing team, make it easier for us. Do I think the FTX guy is going to prison? Okay, I need to look into that a little bit more. I've been so distracted by there's so many stories happening right now. The media news cycle is extremely overwhelming. The FTX guy, I don't know. I find it rather odd. I feel like they gave him a bit of a puff piece. I don't know if he will go to jail. I have no idea what you just said, Danny. Okay, I'm just seeing if oh. He's no doubt surrounded by yes man. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it's hard for people to understand, and it's hard for anyone. It's hard for me to understand this, but you think about it, really put yourself in their position. You are surrounded by yes men constantly. You're surrounded by yes men. You're surrounded by people that want your clout, they want your money, they want to be around you and associated with you. And it becomes like a really, really dangerous like feedback loop. This is so out of left field, but I see the same thing with Britney Spears, and it breaks my heart. Hi, zombie. So there's something else happening. While we're here, I think we've exhausted Kanye. But while we're here, we can talk about something else. So it's about to get rather interesting. So a former Twitter exec, it was that guy Yoel Roth. He recently said publicly that it was a mistake that they centered the Hunter Biden laptop story. We all know they did that. This is nothing new, but now we know for sure, and now it's actually been admitted that the Hunter laptop story was in fact censored by Twitter and Facebook, but by Twitter. They have admitted this. This is knowledge now at this point. And Yoel Roth, who doesn't work there anymore, has said that he thinks it was a mistake. And he said, I actually thought that it was like a Russian actor or something trying to, provide propaganda for the election. So I decided to censor it. We decided to censor it. And he goes, that was the wrong decision. I personally don't know if I believe them. I don't know if I believe him. I think they're saying this now because they're about to get caught. Not only did Yoel Roth say this, a former exec, he was like the top dude for safety and security, so he knows. Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter, by the way, he was not the CEO of Twitter when Elon Musk took over. Former CEO of Twitter, he says that a lot of stuff is about to be uncovered and that, yes, they for sure interfered in, the thing. And that Elon Musk, these are his exact words. These are words from Jack Dorsey, the former CEO of Twitter. He says Elon Musk did not purchase an app. He purchased a crime scene. Now we know why. Now we know why everyone is so upset that Elon bought Twitter. And this is what he recently tweeted out. And by the way, this is not new information to a lot of us. This is basically just confirmation. Yeah, we know. Thank you. We told you so. Thank you for now being transparent. So Elon just tweeted out today, what really happened with the Hunter Biden story suppression by Twitter will be published on Twitter at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's in 1 hour. Shall we go live later tonight? He says, this will be awesome. We'll include a live Q&A. What? I'm excited. Okay, I'm going to go live after and we're going to talk about it. I don't know if I can live stream it with you because my connection is so slow here. What's going on? Okay, so Elon Musk just said that we're going to find out what really happened with Twitter suppressing the Hunter Biden laptop story at 5 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what that means, but all right then. Will definitely be interesting. Okay, so that will be really good. And resurrection, that he is fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that on the microphone. I've been really sick. I can't control my bodily functions right now. Yeah, so that'll be really interesting. Well, anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for joining, and I'll be live later tonight. I'll let you know what time because I really want to go through what's happening with all of this. So I'll let you know. And it's something we knew for a couple of years. Yeah, but it will be really interesting to see this from the source and to know for sure. I think Twitter employees stalked users before they were banned. It'll be interesting. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see some of you later. If not, I'll see you even later than later. Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to have some tea and then I'll be back. All right. Thank you all. Have a good night. Happy Friday. Oh, it's Friday. It's perfect. Thank you all. Bye.